on a Thursday night. It's 10:30 p.m. Grinding away, and I gotta say, in my rideshare limo career, one of the highlights happened today, and that is from 2 p.m. till, was supposed to be until 2:15 p.m., 15 minutes, turned into a full 30 minutes with the new Lyft CEO David Risher, right? And I've put many invites out there in the past to CEO Dara Khosrowshahi, Logan Green, John Zimmer, Tony Zhu to come on my show. I think they played it safe. I think they know who I am, how I act, how I speak, how I advocate for drivers, and none have taken my invite. To play it safe, they'll go on Harry Campbell's show. Dara goes on there once in a while because it's his safe zone. He probably can spoon feed the questions. With today's call, and I'm going to respect the content and the nature of the call. It was off record. I do want to highlight and touch upon a few things that I talked with David Risher, and I want to say a few things about this gentleman. He was not afraid to have a tough conversation with me, right? And that's when I start respecting a person immediately. If you are willing to engage, to listen to the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And it wasn't even a duking out, not at all. It was a very respectful back and forth, highly intelligent questions, well thought out, brought up by him. I do believe I gave him very honest answers, and I do believe he ended the call. I mean, they decided to make it 30 minutes, not 15 minutes. They only gave me 15, but they pushed it to 30. And if someone tells you that they would like to do a follow-up call or a follow-up meeting, it usually means the first meeting went well. And you know, throughout my years building the channel, you know my entire history, from starting off as probably one of the top 5 recruiters for Uber and Lyft, bringing them thousands and thousands and thousands of drivers nationally and internationally. And David Risher knew this. He knew a lot about my channel. He knew a lot about the videos. He knew a lot about how I advocated, what I've done in the past. So my guess is he educated himself. He, you know, learned a bit about me, my channel, you people, the drivers in my channel, and it was a good back and forth. And I do believe I got the key points across. And again, everything was done off the record, so I'm not going to go into specifics. But I did ask him to go on the record on the next phone call. You know, we had a Zoom call. It was facilitated by a very nice lady. She facilitated the interview. I appreciate her for doing that. And then the big question that I'm putting out there: can Lyft, you know, with the guidance of the new CEO, can Lyft create a win-win-win situation? And then I add plus win, because in this equation I want to win as well, right? I've paid my dues, I've fought my battles, I've made them a boatload of money. I have a massive lawsuit against Lyft. I do want to get that settled. I do want to get compensation, because right now I am getting the compensation from law firms and reactivations, and I'm making a lot of money there, no doubt about it, right? But more than anything, it's costing Lyft and Uber millions of dollars. And I can back that up. When I say millions of dollars, I can back that up. And I also told David Risher, I can back it up that I'm costing the company a fortune. It is not worthwhile for Lyft and Uber to not address certain things because it's costing them an absolute fortune, and at least in this channel. Today, I had 3 drivers get settlements because I facilitated them with law firms. Just in the last week, between Uber and Lyft, drivers, because of me, because of working with attorneys, made about $180,000 in less than a week, right? So you can imagine when you start doing the calculations, or when a company starts doing the calculations on how busy I keep these people, their attorneys, their paralegals, just because of my channel, just because of the fact that I don't walk away from something. I fight. It's in my nature. And I told David Risher, that is the South African in me, right? My kind part is very much equal to what David Risher is, because he's big on education, he's big on children. We did share our stories, our beginnings. I mean, we went way back, and I do feel that I honestly connected with the man, and I honestly feel, and I'm going to tell you drivers this, that he wants to change Lyft, right? He knows that his predecessors, Logan Green and John Zimmer, failed. He knows how much I dislike Uber. He doesn't sound like a friend of Uber. He wants to compete with Uber. And one thing that stuck out to me as we were talking, he said, you know, it's not that the drivers are more important. The riders and drivers are equally important, right? And that's quite a powerful statement, because, you know, A, without the drivers, the work wouldn't be performed. B, without, you know, that's the drivers. Without the riders who are booking these trips with Uber, you know, they're obviously booking rideshare, and food delivery with Lyft, they're only doing rideshare. But without these 2 parties, riders and drivers, A, we wouldn't exist, the drivers, the company wouldn't function. So he treats them equally and gives them both the same type of attention. He knows that they are in a tough spot. He knows that Lyft is losing a lot of drivers. He knows that the drivers are unhappy, and the question is, how do we fix this, right? How do we fix this? How do we make Lyft better? How do we keep drivers happy? How do we keep riders happy? How do we perfect this system? How do we sort of like create this Lyft 2.0? How do we get a Lyft reboot so that they can get out of this $10, you know, or sub $10 stock price? I am very sure, and I didn't say this to Mr. Risher, I'm very sure Mr. Risher would like to see the stock price go up to $40, because if it does, he stands to make $980 million. So my invite to Mr. Risher is the following. A, thank you for talking to me. And a lot of people have doubted me that, you know, relentless pressure, strikes, boycotts would never lead. You know, you'd never be able to talk and influence these people one bit. You know, you're just a YouTuber. I know in my heart and my mind I am not just a YouTuber. I bring a skill set to the table that I know that even David Risher doesn't have, right? I worked in the army, in the intelligence unit. I have negotiated many political deals throughout Africa. I have sat down and worked for the Richard Bransons of this world. I have a pretty impressive clientele even today in the United States. No matter where I go, I take my skill set, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to act as diplomatic as possible. Thank you. I learned that from my father, who was a political advisor to several heads of state. Risher and I briefly spoke about Georgetown, Washington, D.C., where he comes from, where I was born. He was born in 1965. I was born in 1968. So we went way back. And I want him to know, I want my subscribers to know that this is the first executive, the first gig executive, and it's not fluff and it's not fake, that he wants to make things work, right? I feel like he is really genuine. Obviously, I did not like the fact how he just let 1,200 people go through an email, and I was pretty vocal, and you know, I asked him for permission to be very direct, and he wanted that brutal honesty. He wanted to have that tough conversation, and we did have that tough conversation. So a few things without going into too much length, because I do believe in the next meeting that could possibly be, you know, not televised, but it could be a live stream on YouTube with live questions. Mr. Risher is not afraid of questions. Mr. Risher is not like Dara Khosrowshahi, who's afraid. Mr. Risher knows how to talk. He knows how to hold a conversation one-on-one. Logan Green, John Zimmer did not know how to do that with drivers or riders. Dara Khosrowshahi definitely doesn't have that skill set. He seems to be more of an introvert, just a math guy, pretty ruthless guy, that I personally do not like, right? And I made that very well known to Mr. Risher, that I have no time for Dara Khosrowshahi. I'm not at war with Dara Khosrowshahi, but I will break Dara Khosrowshahi down bit by bit. And a lot of people say, well, you can't, you're just a one-man show. That's not the way I see it, right? I see it as an extended family of millions and millions of gig workers who are willing to fight. I see myself as a general. I worked closely with generals in the army. I know how they work. I know how they function. I know how they activate the troops. I know how they get the soldiers going, right? I see myself as a general yielding quite a bit of power out there, right? I would say there are only two people who genuinely advocate for drivers, who fight for drivers. Sergio Evidian is one of those people. I'm sure you will agree with me. The other individual I would consider myself. I cannot see any other players out there, no disrespect to Harry, but a lot of people, a lot of drivers say that, you know, Harry has sold out to Uber. They don't trust Harry. And it was with the help of Sergio Evidian that his channel actually went from 90, 100,000 subscribers to 140,000 subscribers in 1 year. And you can attribute that to Sergio Evidian with the Show Me the Money Club, right? Now, I made very well known to David Risher that the generals that yield the power out there, that can call the strikes, I told him I work with unions, associations, organizations. I speak 6 languages. I communicate with all of these people worldwide. And I do share an equal back and forth of empowering these people. We're all empowering each other to rise up against Uber and Lyft and end the abuse, right? The abuse of poor pay and being kept unsafe, the abuse of wrongful deactivations, and I went into a lot of detail on that, talking about the abuse of drivers, right? The abuse of Lyft towards the drivers, the abuse and the damage that Uber and Lyft have done to drivers. He genuinely wants to restore that. He genuinely wants to reboot that, right? I do look forward to that second conversation. I did not get upset or worked up once. I found that it was a really an opportunity to listen. The one thing he has the gift to listen. He allowed me to speak. I knew when he wanted to speak, I allowed him to speak. I did not overpower him. He did not overpower me. It was a healthy dialogue back and forth. One of the key factors where he really wanted to follow up with me was the wrongful deactivations. I said to him, with all due respect, Mr. Risher, drivers are just too, even veteran drivers are too easily deactivated by your company. You take the rider, the passenger's word over the driver's word, and you have no process in place in getting veterans, highly rated drivers that did not commit fraud, good drivers. Just because your passenger's trying to scam or pull a quick one and get money, they throw these good drivers under the bus, and you have no system in place. Even your bots and your customer service sucks. It sucks. You have nothing in place to pick these people up, support them, and get them straight behind the wheel. I said, if we can achieve a fast tracking drivers within 48 hours, the wrongfully deactivated drivers need to be back on the street making you money. If not, the anger will rise against you. The people will get upset. They will look elsewhere. They will work against you in social media. And he agreed, Torsten, he said, we need to fix that. I could genuinely, my friends, and I call you my friends and I call you my family, right? Or all the people, because I represent you. I fight for you, just like a politician should go out and say, I fight for you, right? So what I told him is, Mr. Risher, the first thing you need to do is come up with a system to fast track wrongfully deactivated drivers, almost like a quick review panel, and get them back out on the street, because you cannot throw thousands and thousands of good drivers under the bus every day. And he said, yes, you're right. We have some good ideas in mind. He also thanked me for putting his email out there, david@lyft.com. He said, Torsten, when you put that video out there, drivers emailed me. I answered them. He said, you blew my, in his words, you blew my inbox up. Thank you. You blew my inbox up. Thank you. And I said, you're welcome. And I said, I'm glad that drivers reached out to you. And he says, I am emailing them back. I am talking to them. And I said, sir, that is more than any other executive has done in the last 12 years. You have done more, or you've tried more. You've tried to build more bridges in within 2 weeks. More, you did more than executives did in 12 years. Trash like Tony West, Nelson Chai, Dara Koshashawi, they do not have the skill set that David Risher has. So if you are talking about a Lyft 0.20 or the possibility of an Uber 2.0 or an Uber reboot or a Lyft reboot, out of all the characters, and I know them all well, I've studied them inside out, I know all of these people top to bottom, he is probably the only person who would be capable of turning a rideshare company around. So it is my belief that we will see some instrumental changes, many changes we want, the drivers want, and the riders want in the following months. Now, seeing that Mr. Risher said he does watch my channel, he does pay attention to the videos, they know me, I'm going to say this to you, Mr. Risher. When I say create a win-win-win plus win situation, hear me out. The company needs to win. You need to get back to $40 per stock, right? The riders need to win. They need to feel like Lyft is the choice, not Uber, right? The drivers need to win. They need to feel like they are rewarded, they're being paid, and they have opportunities to grow within the company, and they don't just get thrown under the bus. That is the win-win-win that I'm talking about. The additional fourth win is, after all the years of work, after helping build that company, funneling thousands and thousands and thousands of referrals, recruiting in over 600 cities with 8,700 videos, I want to have a big payday, right? In 2019, Mr. Risher, you wiped out over $650,000 of my monies. I will get paid. I will get paid. And my proposal to you tonight, I've thought about this, I've meditated over this while I was down in Orange County, down by the ocean. I'll take $300,000 in the first year, and I'll take $300,000 of stock, right? $600,000 is what I am looking to get paid by Lyft. The flip side, the other side of the coin is Lyft knows how much money they are losing with my channel. Myself now being the biggest recruiter for law firms. Millions and millions and millions of dollars in payouts because of me. Arbitration after arbitration after arbitration cases because of me. Class action after class action after feeding drivers into class action after class action. And I told him that the Uber settlement to Potter Handy of $20 million by Uber, of which maybe the law firm gets 40%. 70 to 80% of those drivers came from me. 70 to 80% of those drivers were paid out because of me. Mr. Hooneke, over $85,000 because of me. Today, a driver in Inland Empire, $25,000 because of me, right? And it's not the I, it's myself fighting for those drivers and working on a different level. If you take my money, I take your money 100-fold. And I told him that's in my South African DNA. I'm a fighter. I don't want to fight you. It's exhausting. But I will cost you millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. And you will never, ever, I will make sure they will never, ever get out of that $10 stock price, because we have an army of soldiers that are educated on social media, that tweet, retweet, that operate in hundreds of Facebook channels, and video after video after video, TV network after TV network after TV network, interview after interview after interview, strike after strike after strike, boycott after boycott after boycott, protest after protest after protest. You will not get out of the $10 range unless you start cooperating with me. And I would suggest paying Sergio Evidian a hefty fee, because do not underestimate, ladies and gentlemen, how much power Sergio yields, right? I'd almost say, I'm carefully saying that Uber has probably, and this is just my gut feeling, asked Harry Campbell, the rideshare guy, hey, Sergio is a little bit too cutthroat. He's a little bit too hardcore. Tone him down, right? Sergio cannot be toned down. I cannot be toned down. I would like Sergio to fly solo with his own show. I would like David Risher to consider paying him $150,000 to $200,000 a year. Who am I to make up those figures, right? Who am I? Sergio might say, you don't represent me. You can't put $150,000 on my head or 200, but I know that Sergio is worth more than $200,000 a year, right? Because Sergio says, know your worth. I know Sergio's worth as a friend and as a YouTuber. I know his worth. I will convey his worth, maybe even like an agent, to David Risher if you are listening. These two generals, Sergio Avidian and Torsten Kunert, can help you build bridges, sir. But we have a price tag attached, right? Because we have paid blood, sweat, and tears to get to this point. It takes a lot of hours, a lot of energy, a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, a lot of traveling, a lot of showing up at protests and strikes, organizing strikes. So we need to get paid. So if you want to become our friend, if you want to change the company with us, if you want to travel around the country with us and meet drivers, I can assure Mr. Risher does not need a security entourage like Dara Khosrowshahi. Wherever Dara Khosrowshahi will travel, anywhere in the world, he will always have to have his bodyguards with him because the people hate Dara Khosrowshahi, right? And the nature of David Risher, he's very likable, he's very approachable, he's a very, very smart speaker, I think he is, right? He's very diplomatic. This type of person can freely walk around wherever he wants to as a CEO and shake drivers' hands. He has nothing to worry about, right? And I would ask everyone to treat him with that respect. Don't treat Dara Khosrowshahi with that respect because he does not deserve our respect, right? But we need to give David Risher a chance. We need to work with him and Lyft and turn this company around. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, that drivers will return to Lyft and get paid well, will get paid their worth. I hope that Sergio Avidian is paid his worth. I also hope that Harry Campbell, who also spoke to David Risher today, is paid his worth, because it is us generals who can really help David Risher turn this company around. Dara Khosrowshahi has shown us he is not a player. He's a ruthless son of a bitch, right? He will walk over drivers, he will exploit them. Lyft has done the same in the past, but I feel that the fundamental difference between the two companies is that Risher and his approach want to make this work for the driver and the rider equally. Dara Khosrowshahi doesn't. Dara Khosrowshahi is, I have investors, I am making money, my cronies are making money, and we have several things going for ourselves, and F you all. That's his, right? Good luck, right? Because I want to remind Dara Khosrowshahi, you are not getting out of the $30 stock mark.
Use the right lane to take exit 1D onto Nash Street toward Los Angeles International Airport alternate.
Anybody's at LAX, hit me up. Gladly get you a coffee or something to eat. If you are at, I do believe there's a Starbucks open outside of LAX.
Take the exit.
I'm right now in the Sepulveda LAX. So again, thank you for the conversation today, Mr. Risher. I look forward to the second conversation. I look forward together with thousands and thousands and thousands of drivers assisting you, but you have to take care of them, right? And that means pay.
Use the right lane to take exit 1B onto CA1 South and Sepulveda Boulevard. Then turn left onto East Imperial Highway.
Many other ways. Mr. Risher has to step up with Lyft, and he knows that. And I think he is ready for that challenge. And I'm pretty confident that if he were to bring me and Sergio on board, pay Sergio, pay me for all of the recruiting that I've done where you've literally stolen my money, and he knows that is a very, very painful point that I hold against Lyft. If you pay me and work something out to the extent of $600,000, $300,000 is in form of a payment and $300,000 in form of stock, you have a general in your army. And I'm sure you'll have another general by the name of Sergio, because Sergio is ready. Sergio is ready with me to help these companies change things. We want to see change. We want to see drivers do better. We want to see drivers get treated better, paid better, and be kept safe. I do believe that Risher's mindset, his willingness to reach out to YouTubers, to talk to advocates, to fix things, will start Lyft off in the right direction. And
stay in the left two lanes.
It's not an overnight success story, right? We will grind away for a year or 2 years, whatever it takes, to make the companies healthy and successful again, and keep drivers happy, and have drivers actually making money so that they can go back to their husbands and their wives and their children and say, hey, I'm enjoying my job, I'm getting paid well, and I'm having fun again, right? We need to have fun again, right? We shouldn't be trying to figure out the counter chess moves, the cherry picking, the this, the that, fighting the companies at every single corner, exposing them, trashing them on social media. That is not a healthy relationship between Lyft and the drivers and the riders. We need to work as a team. So I appreciate you all listening to this feed. Do please leave comments for the new CEO. Do please email him at david@risher.com, right? Please tell him that I've requested you to email him. Tell him what you would like to have to be changed. Be cordial, be polite, and put your points forward, your valid points, because your points are your suggestions, your input, my friends, are beyond valid. They're real and they need to be listened to, and he's ready to listen. He is ready to listen. So energetically, I feel that things are going to happen. But if we want to create this win-win-win-win situation, all the parties need to be happy. I'm not a free consultant. Sergio is not a free consultant. I did not work.
Use the right three lanes to continue onto Sepulveda Boulevard.
Years and years and years building the company just to have those money stolen from me. So that $650,000 on national and international referrals needs to be paid. We could figure out a payment plan, all good.
Continue straight.
Know this. You'll have a general, just like I did
In 1.7 miles, turn right onto West Howard Hughes Parkway.
I apologize for the Chula's in the house. Apologize for the Google MapQuest being on, but it's trying to reroute me because there's some accidents here, so it's continuously interrupting my live feed. We will make it work. I know, can't hear me, Los Lakers, when the frickin' GPS is so loud, Apologize for the GPS, but I can't switch it off, otherwise I switch the video off. So I'm going to end the live feed here. I do hope that he watches this video. I'm excited about the follow-up meeting. We need to hash out a plan. I do want Sergio Avidian on board as a team player. If Harry sort of wants to break ranks with Uber, I would hope he comes over to Risher's camp and gets the rideshare guy channel involved, right? But we need a couple of generals, and obviously there's a lot of executives, etc. at Lyft. Sure, I've trashed them many times. 2 have actually stepped down, and I'm glad they stepped down because they weren't doing anything for the company. They weren't doing anything for the drivers. So this guy has worked at Microsoft. This guy has worked with Jeff Bezos at Amazon. He's the real deal, right? He has a non-profit that has done amazing things for reading on a world stage for children. And I know that he is working for that $980 million bonus. And I hope he gets it. I hope he gets it. I hope together we all thrive. And I say all together, I mean the drivers, the riders, myself, Sergio, the investors, but you got to do it the right way. It cannot be we win, you lose, we win, you lose. It has to be win-win situations, win-win situations, win-win-win situations, right? You're not out there trying to game people, abuse people, out-algorithm them, and bait and switch them. No, you got to play an honest game and create win-win, win-win. So we have Stefan in the house. He is cutting costs radically. He has to, if they want to stay afloat. I guess that's not an easy job, wiping out 30% of your workforce, right? Out of 3,600 people, I believe 1,200 are being let go. So, he comes in, is definitely not the nice guy. He's the cleanup guy, right? So, that cannot be easy, my friends. Cannot be easy to give 1,200 people their papers and say adios muchachos, bye bye, adieu, auf Wiedersehen, baie dankie, gaan goed. Right, so I'm just outside of LAX. I'm just paying attention to the traffic as people are driving a little crazy tonight. I don't know where all this traffic comes from, but traffic's been rather nuts tonight. To you, to the 40 people watching right now, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your feedback.
Proceed to the route.
I'm going to read the comments. Please leave a comment for Mr. Risher.
Proceed to the route.
Please email him, david@lyft.com, david@lyft.com. And somebody just says, I hope you are right about this new. Look, he has to prove himself to us, right? We don't have to prove himself. We don't have to prove ourselves to him. We drive and bring in the money. We're already proving who we are. Risher has to prove himself to us, ladies and gentlemen, right?
Turn left.
He has to be serious about wanting to make those changes. Not just talk is cheap, right? Actions, we need to see actions. And the one thing is, I'm not going to stop holding him accountable, right? Because if he wants my help, like I said, my help is not free. But I know I have the respect of the drivers. I know Sergio has the respect of the drivers. And if you want to have the respect of the drivers back, if you want to have happy drivers, you have to pay close attention to the fine details. What does a driver or food delivery want? They want to be paid their worth. They don't want to be abused by an algorithm. They don't want to constantly be effed around by all the laws that these companies are circumventing. They want to be treated as true independent contractors, right? They don't want to be thrown under the bus with wrongful deactivation. There's a lot of things that drivers, gig workers deserve as a starting point. They deserve it. They really need to be kept safe. I told David Risher, and I don't want to go in because, I mean, we were speaking off the record, but I told David Risher that M13 murderer that dismembered an Uber Eats driver and cut him up and put him up in trash bags. I brought this example up. I said, that individual, his face, I don't know who has seen his, has anybody seen his face? His face is obviously deliberately left off that Uber Eats account because he ordered the food, right? He lured the driver to his house and then killed him in the most demonic, horrible way you can ever think of, right? There is no way that that individual would have uploaded his face. I said, we deserve, just like riders and people ordering food deserve to see us, the driver, know us, know that we have been vetted, we have a background check. We deserve the same, Mr. Risher. We deserve to see their real name. We deserve to see their face, right? And you have the responsibility of keeping us safe. You have to do everything, I told him, you have to do everything in your power to keep drivers safe. Let me repeat this. I want Mr. Risher to really listen to the same words I conveyed between 2 o'clock this afternoon, and I can prove that I was on the call with him, right? And that I was in the Zoom call with him and his assistant. I want to repeat these words slowly and clearly. Mr. Risher, Lyft executives, Lyft investors, we the people, we the drivers, we the gig workers who are bringing you in the money. You call us drivers. We deserve to be kept safe. Do not save money on our safety. Every life we can save, every driver that's not shot in the head, that's not stabbed in the neck, that every lady that's not raped or assaulted in a car by a drunkard, by a drunk passenger, right, is another life saved. You have the ability, you have the capabilities of spending money on our safety and changing ways to keep your drivers safe. That is the absolute minimum that you have to do, right? You have to get to work right away on day one and figure out ways how to bring those numbers down. I don't want to see more dead fathers. I don't want to see more dead mothers. I have spoken to mothers and fathers that have lost their kids that were driving. They've spoken to me and have asked me to push for change. I have a duty towards these mothers and fathers and families to change this. It is very, very, very important to me that we make fundamental changes in the field of safety for gig workers. Not only pay, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just all about the money, right? It's not all about, in fact, I got my little toy with you because I wanted to surprise him today, right? I did the interview, by the way, from my car. The first thing you notice, oh, you're in a car. I said, yes, I am, sir. And was good. So, and I know how much money they pay those executives, and I know what roles those executives do. But you got to look at Sergio as an executive, and you have to look at Torsten Kuhnert, the rideshare professor, as an executive if you want to turn this company around. So we've got VBV TV in the house. Their programmers are needed to build their app. Drivers are the backbone, 100%. They look at murdered Lyft drivers as collateral damage. It comes with the territory. Yeah, and you may be partially right in saying that it comes with the territory, but that's not the way I see it, right? It should not be the norm. It should not be acceptable that these stories appear in the headlines on news at 9 o'clock each night, every single night, right? That is not That is not like, say, coming with the territory. That's not normal. What's normal is the ability to step up and spend money on safety and keep people safe, so you don't appear on the 9 o'clock news, so that you don't appear negatively in media. I told Mr. Risher, it is crushing you. It is crushing your company that you, in the court of public opinion, are being hammered because your drivers are being killed and murdered every single day, and you're failing them, right? That needs to change, right? And I hope he's listening. I hope he's listening to the whole 45 minutes, because, well, I hope that other Lyft executives are listening. That is your job, right? If you go in with the attitude of, that's part of the equation, that's part of the job that comes with the territory, going out there working, yeah, you could get murdered, you could get killed, you could get raped, that's just part of the job. No, it's not. No, it is not. Tula says, I still think it's unsafe to have riders up front. 100%, dear. You're 100% right. Stephen K, appreciate you, my brother. So to all of you wonderful people, please hit the like button. Please email him, david@lyft.com. Tell him I asked you to email him. Convey to him what you want to see changed. Convey to him through the comments box underneath this video, I'd like to see these changes. And for the first time since Uber and Lyft and any gig company for that matter of fact were born in the last 12, 15 years, I genuinely think this is the first guy who wants to connect with people on all levels, not only with his staff, his executives, his investors, and not only he wants to make Logan Green and John Zimmer proud, but he wants to learn from the riders. He wants to interact with the drivers. And granted, if you come on the job after 2 weeks and you're already driving in the first 2 weeks, learning the trade, and you're going out as a driver, right? There's two people in the car, right? There's the rider and the driver. You're not at that moment interacting with other drivers. You're just interacting and learning from riders. And the way you learn from drivers, for example, and I made this suggestion, you got to go around the country, and he has nothing to fear, right? This is not Dara Khosrowshahi, where every driver wants to take Dara Khosrowshahi out, right? That's why, ladies and gentlemen, Dara Khosrowshahi has so many bodyguards. That is why he pays up to $2 million a year in security, because people are after him. I can tell you that. That's not the case with David Risher. David Risher could walk around any city, 10, 11 o'clock at night, walk up to Lyft vehicles and say, hey, I'm David Risher, the CEO of Lyft. Can we have a conversation? And I would like to do that. I would like to invite David Risher down to Los Angeles with a group of drivers. Let's have some pizzas and drinks with all those wonderful Vegas drivers, with all those wonderful LA drivers, with all those wonderful Orlando and Miami drivers. Let's go around the country together. Sergio, join us. This is where you need to spend money, Mr. Risher. You need to join us on like a road tour. You go out, we keep it simple, right? Pizzas, couple of drinks. We're not having margaritas. We're not having vodka mules. We're not having rum and coke. No, we have Coke, Sprites, alcohol free, couple of pizzas or burgers, and we can talk. We can interact. And I can assure Mr. Risher, he would never ever have to look over his back or worry that somebody's going to walk up to him and pop him, right? It's not going to happen, right? No one will walk up to Mr. Risher and try to pop him, because he's in the safe zone. He wants to work with drivers. He's shown that he wants to work with drivers. So I hope he tours around the country with us, right? I remember last summer I went to Europe. I did 11 countries in 3 weeks. 11 countries, in 3 weeks. I drove 4,800 miles in a Mercedes Sprinter with my wonderful wife and my 5 kids. We had the most epic time. Airbnbs, hotels, we were everywhere. Monte Carlo, Madrid, Barcelona, Lisbon, Munich, Antwerpen, Belgium, Amsterdam. We were everywhere. And the one thing I did, and I told them that the one thing I did is, while I was out there, I made an effort in every city, whether it was in Paris, France, whether it was in Lisbon, I was talking to Uber Eats drivers. In Paris, I was talking to Uber drivers. Wherever I went, I made an effort to hook up and talk to drivers. That is what Mr. Risher needs to do in order to gain the trust and the respect. You got to go into the trenches. You got to come into our soldier trenches. You got to hang out with the generals. You got to go and mix it up on the street, right? It's a good starting point, getting in a car and driving riders around, but it's also very, very important to meet hundreds and hundreds of drivers and have meetings with them, conversations with them, listen to them. What do they want? What do they expect? That is how you win the hearts and minds of drivers. That is how you get the trust, the respect from the drivers. So go on a tour with us. You're in Toronto, you're in Vancouver, you're in LA, you're in Seattle. Go around with us. And I hope he takes us up on this idea, because the one person that I would really like to have traveling along is Sergio. Because I know Sergio has the driver's back. I know it. In my heart of hearts, I can feel that Sergio has the driver's back. I know in my hearts of hearts that Mr. Risher would like to have the hearts and minds of the drivers. He would like to have their respect. And how do you get respect in life? You earn respect. It's by your deeds. It's by what you do. It's by how you behave. It's by what you say, how you treat your fellow man. That is how you get respect and trust. So that is a 1 to 2 year journey that I hope he takes with us, right? So you have bridge builders here, major bridge builders. We bring a skill set that these other MFs don't have, right? Dara Khosrowshahi does not have this skill set. Dara Khosrowshahi does not have the Sergio Avidian skill set. He doesn't. We do. They need it. They know it, right? So love you all. Shout out from Cali. It is now 11:16. I'm going to see if I can maybe get one more passenger and get out of here. And I wish you all a good night. Wanted to share that with you, that, through this channel, finally, one of the executives, highest of them all, CEO, stepped up and started conducting interviews with YouTubers, right? Thank you, Tula. Love you, appreciate you. And have a wonderful night, everyone. And on your way out, if you could hit the like button. It looks like this. Please be safe out there. Doors locked, windows up, mace. Here's another, I'm going to leave you with one last crazy thing, ladies and gentlemen. Crazy thing. I told Mr. Risher that I carry, right? I told him that I carry. And I told Mr. Risher, please allow drivers. It doesn't matter whether you are against the Second Amendment, or if you're for the Second Amendment, if you're pro-guns, or if you're anti-guns. It doesn't matter. But allow the individual who wants to carry a gun to keep himself or herself safe, because they're going out and doing a job for you at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning in some of the most dangerous neighborhoods of the United States and other cities abroad. Allow them, if they want to, allow them to arm themselves, right? I asked him that. I said, allow them. Don't come with your set of values and let's just say San Francisco might think very, very different to a city in Alabama or a city in Oklahoma where people, or in Texas where they love their guns, right? Allow a driver who wants to carry a gun to keep himself or herself safe. Allow them to do so, bro. Pancho in the house. Delete Dara K. Delete, delete, delete. Hashtag delete Dara. Let's get it going. Hashtag I told Mr. Risher how much I hate that big SOB. You know what that stands for. Dara SUB. So hashtag delete Dara. Hashtag delete Dara. We're going to get rid of Dara. He's gone. That's my goal. I'll help Lyft get there. We'll help them get the stock price up there. We'll build the bridges. But the one guy I'm taking down is Dara Khosrowshahi. I'll give you my word. So vision one, hit that money button. Ladies and gentlemen, what do we want? Money! What do we want? Money! What do we want? Pay! What do we want? Pay! Pancho in the house, my warrior. I love Pancho. He is a warrior. Money, money, money isn't funny in the rideshare world. Why don't you just pay us some money? Just pay us some money in the rideshare world. Mr. Risher, pay us some money. Pay us some money. Pay us some money in the rideshare world. This is what we like. We like money. It ain't funny. It's the real deal. Amen. Hallelujah, baby. Amen. Hallelujah. I love you all. Delete Dara, delete Dara, delete Dara, delete Dara. And let's make this company thrive again. Let's get the respect and trust back. Let's get the money into our bank accounts. Let's feel safe once again. So we're excited going out there. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Keep brawling, keep fighting round after round, just like Tank Davis does. And have a good, wonderful night. Sweet dreams, everyone. Cheers.